Whenever you're ready. All right. So I don't have my name on here, so I apologize if no one knows who I am at this point. Um, so I want to show off this tool that I guess I made called the Vessel Picker animation. So this is gonna be a bit weird in that I'm presenting this thing as if it's some new technology that we're offering from Configa. We're not. This is actually not core. I I can't speak to whether or not it will ever be in core. I almost hope it's not really. But it's something that I came up with a while back, and then a lot of the other projects that we handle internally started using it. They were like replicated it, and they started doing it as well. We tweaked it a little bit, make it better. Um, but yeah, so it's not in core. But if anyone like doesn't have it in their project already and is interested in using it, basically just give me a shout and I'll give you the code for it. Or actually, if I have time, I'm gonna walk you through the actual code for it. You can probably just make it yourself. It's pretty easy. So first, we're just gonna do a demo. Oh, I don't have a mouse. This is gonna suck. I apologize. I have to use a trackpad for this. Okay, so what's that? I'll make it work. So a user demo, right? I'm gonna forgive me for my missing RS entries. I know it's kind of embarrassing. All right, nothing really exciting. There's just a material animation. The user can click on things and it changes the material. Not so exciting. Other than it's a nice, simple point and click interface. And then for specific cases, you have specific properties. So these paints can be blue, green, red. We get a cute little paint bucket icon indicating what color they're going to change it to. Oh, and my properties disappeared. And the properties change, so these are different kind of fabrics. Again, with a little preview so you can see what you're about to apply. There we go. Nothing too crazy. But now I want to show you how hard it is to add a tool like this, or rather how simple it is. And this is where part of where the magic of this is. I'm actually going to walk through and make a new tool, a new animation right in front of you. Now I timed this out before and I did in about 5 minutes. Let's see if I can maintain that for people watching. So these paint blocks here, they have an option on them for center split. They can just be split along the center, right? And that's all well and good, but I want to have an animation that handles this. So that you can just go click for splits. All right, so I need well, actually, we'll do it that way, why not? Can everyone see my screen all right? I cranked it on, so I think we're good. Basically, all I need is a vessel. I'm not even going to write a new animation. I'm just going to make another vessel. So it needs to look like something, so let's give it some graphics. Oh, actually, I need to know this vessel to know which one it's going to mess with, so this is a demo box, I think is what I call the class. Those little paint boxes are demo boxes. All right. Get 3D. Dang it, I missed my keyboard. Let's see, this thing is just cutting something through the center, right? So we're going to do a poor man's buzzsaw. How about closed? Cylinder. Res. It's going to be, I don't know, 12 inches radius, 1 inch thick. It's a big, beefy looking thing. And we're going to make it out of the most firm material I can think of for a saw blade. Aluminum. Good stout material, right? Never dings up. Oh, and also our cylinders kind of look balls if you don't mess with them, so. So we got graphics. All right, it needs to know where it is as well. Well, I don't actually have to do this part. I just think it's easier to do it this way. so I don't have to worry about like managing its position later. So I'm just gonna say point red. We'll just do that. Super easy. Owner dot bound dot bam for now. Say what? Did I just type in wrong here? It's just not them doing it on a box. Is that what it is? Good point. So you know what? Screw safety, right? Safety is for the users, and I'm not. So the public orient rot. Then bound, and this is about all we need to get so we can look at it. Oh, let's see, what did I say it was? 12 inches, so negative 12 inch, negative 12 inch, 0 is 24 inch, 1 inch. Okay, so now I'm going to use the thing. Dang it. Damn you fingers. Return. What was it? Split vessels, is that what I said? Doesn't constructor force. Oh. I don't know. Okay, so I got a vessel. Now I actually need my animation. That one was also super easy. I think at this point I can at least see something. Nope, of course. This thing, do I need to make it active as well? And just because I don't think I need to do that, why not? Arrows. Oh, did I completely mess up those? Yeah, there we go. So already I've got something that's in the user. Ooh, I can't even select it. Why can I not select it? Got a bound, right? What's that? No, this is right. Actually, I'm not sure what's wrong with that. I suddenly can't pick my dang vessels. That's right. I have no idea. Sorry, I ran this exact test like twice before. So I'm going to try IT 101. Turn it off and on again. And while that's going, let's get on. No. Never remember the interface for this one, so I'm going to do public void owner event stir event. I don't remember these arguments. I'm just going to take a stab at it. Dang it. All right, how did I do? Yeah, nailed it. Let's execute, right? Sure. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I really screwed it. So we'll just do owner, no, split equals not equal to owner dot split. We're not going to record that for undo because who's got time for undo? Users don't even like undo from what I hear. Right? No? I always get that wrong anyway. And that one works. What's that? Oh, sorry. There we go. Static. Damn it. There we go. There we go. Is that good, Magnus? What's that? All right, but we got it now. So that's back in. I can go back to this one, put that back in. Can load my drawing. There's none of those. Sure, why not? All right. Okay, cool. Now if I can remember what the hell I did differently. Oh, son of a biscuit eater. There, see how easy that is? That was so easy, right? Yeah, nailed it. First try. All right, so yeah, I apologize for that. I had some old stuff in my profile I was hitting for whatever reason. But if you look at it, basically all I threw together was I got some simple transformation stuff, position rotation. Got to get local bound, not bound, in there. And then some graphics. And then this owner event, oh yeah, I didn't actually show you do anything, right? Because the little vessel that doesn't do anything. It's out of splits. Right, bam, bam. So assuming this had gone the way I intended, it probably would have taken me just a couple minutes. At least it did in my tests. One of the things that makes this so nice is the fact that I'm only spending my time, apart from debugging my profile, just creating the part of the solution that I actually care about. I'm not rewriting an animation to like find candidates. I'm not rewriting code like switching core properties around. Like the code that handles this guy has his properties and this guy has his properties. I don't have to write any of that. I'm just like, I want to add a split to this box. And so my only thing I need to write is I need to add a split to this box. And then also, local bound. Then to enable it, I just say on my guy that's going to have this feature, say, well, he has that vessel, creating an animation for it. I mean, I don't create an animation for it. I'm actually using the exact same animation. I'm just giving it a different key to go off of. So basically, the only thing I write is that vessel, and I'm done. So I have no idea what I was going to talk about next. I'm so flustered now. So I'll go into the code in a little bit, but I want to tell you why this is actually a cool thing, despite my crashes. Creating a new tool is very fast, assuming it goes correctly. Like I said, I've done this a couple times, and I time myself down to like 5 or 6 minutes to create that little tool that just inserts a split. It requires very little authoring beyond problem-relevant code. So I just wrote code that did the split. I decided what I wanted to look like, where I wanted it to go, and I decided who's going to have this functionality, and that was it. I didn't actually write the animation again. I didn't handle properties and picking and all that stuff. I didn't need to. I just wrote the specific splitting in this case. Then, oh, this is the big one. In fact, this is part of the reason why I originally created this. Allows for tools that work across extensions. So imagine, if you will, or even if you won't, because you kind of have to, that these are from completely different product lines, right? Maybe I've got some like core to my project code, but then I've got like these different product lines, and these two guys handle their materials completely differently. They've got different domains. They store them differently. This one stores as material. This one just has a code. Maybe one of these is data-driven or something like that. They store this stuff completely differently, and this still works across all of them. And this is because the vessel picker animation itself doesn't actually need to be in any of those sub-extensions. It's just down in the core, just one little simple interface. And then how the actual material change and properties and all that stuff works is entirely up to like the leaf, the author of the vessel. And yet they can all be present at the same time. So when I come over to make, a pretty common form is that for every product line you have a different tab, or maybe different series you have a different tab. You don't have to write a new material animation for each one. And likewise, the user doesn't need to say, oh, I'm doing materials on this product, so use that animation. I'm doing materials on this product, so use that animation. You can just have one. And it will automatically adapt to whatever product they're looking at. So I might put this material animation button on each tab, but it's going to work across all the product lines. Wait, where did it go? There we go, got it. No dependency between the animation and the vessels. So the vessels never reference code in the animation. There is an option to, but you don't have to. And then likewise, the animation doesn't actually know much of anything about the vessels it's placing. It just kind of goes around to the snappers and drawing and says, hey, do you want to display anything? Cool, I'll display it for you. Doesn't even do anything with it. So there's no need to put like product specific requirements in the animation down in core, and then you've got weird reverse dependency issues. There's no dependency between them whatsoever. And it is a pretty easy way to get more complex animations as well. So if you can imagine the problem you're trying to solve, or at least part of the problem you're trying to solve, in terms of just, I want the user to see some things to click on, and then I want them to click on one of them, and then a thing happens. If you can render your problem down, or part of your problem down to that, Vessel Picker is perfect. Because it just puts out some things users can click on, and then it's up to you to handle what happens when they click on them. But as a gateway to more complex animations, I, a while back, experimented with making an actual, like, a manual jumper routing tool, where I just displayed like all of the power blocks as like things the user can click on. They clicked on one, and it just spawned off a new animation to click another one, and then as it went, it just built like a path, right? And those were all vessel pickers. They were just building a path as they went. So it created a more complex tool, but I was still just using a simple vessel picker. Right, so I want to walk through, what time is it? I got a little time. That's plenty of time actually for what I'm going to do. I want to walk through the vessel picker class a bit. So like I said, if anyone is interested in this and wants to know more about it, give me a shout. Why am I doing that? If you just want to basically copy this code, I can send it to you. But I would encourage you to try and make it yourself, because actually it's pretty darn easy to make it yourself. And it's also good at exercise in that it ties in together a lot of our newer systems, the new animations, vessels, the new picking stuff. I guess I referenced component at one point. Yeah, so, okay, so I'm gonna run through this animation real quick. And again, this is the animation that you create once, you put it in your core code somewhere, and then you basically never extend it again. I guess you can, but really you shouldn't need to. All right, so the vessel pick animation this is pretty important. So this is the key that the animation will get spawned with. It is also the key that it's going to send out to the snappers that it's visiting, saying, hey, do you have any like pickable vessels with this key? So this would be like, it was, I think, material for the first one, and then it was split. It could have been like, I don't know, electrical routing, whatever you want it to be, but it's what's going to trigger snappers to release specific vessels. This is just for later. I need to track vessels were generated. An annoying part of this, you can't own the vessels. Normally, like when you spawn off an animation and you want it to do cool things, you just give it vessels and then it owns those vessels. You actually can't do that here because you can't pick vessels you own. And so they can't be stored, normally they have to be stored in this like separate set. You can ignore this. These are just some bells and whistles and not really relevant to what we're doing. Blah, blah, nothing exciting. The only vessel I actually have like on the animation is just this little arrow vessel so the user can see where their cursor is. These are important. So by default, we have snapper candidate searching on and vessel candidate searching off. That just means basically what can the animation find and pick on. I just reversed them. You can't click on snappers. You can click on vessels. This is pretty important. If the user is allowed to click on snappers, it's almost guaranteed they're going to get conflicting, like I meant to click on that, but I didn't want to. And of course, it's a vessel picker, so you need to be able to search on vessels. If you didn't know about these, with the new pickers, you can set like a fuzziness value, basically how close the user has to be to something to pick it. I found it was a bit too tight, so I just made it a bit bigger, a bit easier for the user to select things. Here's one of the critical junctures of the animation, the enter space. I have this generate pick vessels visitor. Everyone knows what a visitor is at this point? Yes? No? Ish? Ish? Basically, it's a thing that visits. Cool, moving on. It's just, I mean, that's basically what it is. It moves around a whole bunch of objects, and for each one, it does something. In this case, this is the visitor that will actually travel to all of these snappers and also into their components, if need be. For each one, it's going to ask them to generate pick vessels. So that's actually a lot of what? Yep. Yep. Going. Yeah. But this is on user click, so it's not the worst thing. But it could change. It can change. Right. Probably not, because it can change. Like, so, what would update? Hmm. Nope. Nope. I mean, if you're iterating through every snapper in space on mouse movement, yeah, that's a bit of a pain. But this is only going to happen as soon as the user just moves their cursor into space, and it's only going to happen once. So there might be, for an extremely large, 10, 100,000 snapper drawing, a couple milliseconds, but it happens once. The user's not going to mind. So where was I? All right, so yeah, so this visitor, it's just going to visit everything in space, all the snappers in space. This visitor, again, it's got that key. It's also got a set of all the vessels generated. This is important so that the animation can get back later. Owners ignore that. That's just a bell I was looking to add. I haven't satisfied that with that yet. So let's just look at visit. Pretty simple. It just goes and it goes to that object and does a generic get. So this is using that the prop object interface, just get. This is a well-defined key constant. And this environment is just a pick vessel environment that has like the key in it, the actual visitor itself, the animation being run, and who's been hit so far. Usually you only care about the key, but I try to add in extra information if you need it. And this is what keeps the animation completely agnostic to the vessels that are generated. I just go to every object and say, got any vessels? That's it. I don't care what I get back as long as it's a vessel. And also it refers to components if they're there. That way components, if they also want to have pick vessels, they can. And that's it. Oh, so I make sure that the vessels are in space. So these have to be space vessels. And again, repeating from Adam's presentation, a space vessel is just, it's a vessel that's in space, it doesn't have an owner. So okay, we've gone through to all the snappers, said, hey, what vessels do you have? I also do this highlight thing. Has anyone seen this before? This is using those new material overrides we had in 8.5? 8.5, I want to say? I don't know. So that is what's causing those other snappers to be like made transparent. This is, obviously it's not required, but it's pretty handy. This is so that the user knows specifically what they need to care about. They can still have like a spatial reference, but they can see that these are not important right now. I only need to care about these things. And I currently set up to only leave alone the snappers that are generating vessels. That way, again, the user just knows what snappers they care about right now. But of course, that can be tweaked around. And then I just keep track of the vessels that were generated. Because I don't own these vessels in a traditional sense, they will not be cleaned up automatically when the animation ends. And so I need to keep track of them so I can clean them up later. Release. This is whenever the user depresses the mouse. Pretty simple. If we currently have a candidate, if the user is currently mousing over one of these pick vessels, we just send this event to them. And again, don't care what that means. It's again, this owner event thing is on all vessels, so I'm not even specific to a kind of vessel. I'm completely agnostic to what happens next. If the vessel wants to mess with the snapper, it can. If it wants to spawn off a new animation, it can. Don't really care. It just tells the vessel, hey, click. Do what you need to do. Vessel candidate change. This is what makes properties work. So this way, the vessels can have their own properties. As we move between vessels and also off of vessels, I am clearing out any pending vessel properties we had and also adding in new ones. I don't think Caleb really touched on this later, but one of the benefits of the new property system is that you don't have to be the only object generating core properties. For example, if you have a snapper, you're generating core properties for yourself. You could also, if you have like a component or a vessel on you, you could say, hey, also build properties for him without proxying. You can just say, hey, you build properties. And then that object will receive all of the calls to normal property changes. Put, get, property changed, animation property changed. They'll go directly to him. So this way, again, I'm completely agnostic to whatever properties will exist or not exist on the vessel. I don't even need to be like a handoff middleman anymore. All of the changes the user makes to these properties are going straight to the vessel, and he can handle them however he wants. The animation doesn't even know about it. The ensure properties value set. I kind of want to avoid this. Long story short, I wanted to be able to handle vessels that store their values on the animation itself, and so this is some voodoo to make that work a little bit better. Off topic, but so I won't get into that. This is something that was handy but not critical to the animation. In fact, the animation doesn't even use this itself. Broadcast event. I wanted some way for any of the pick vessels to be able to communicate to the other pick vessels. So what they can do is they can go to the animation, say broadcast this event, whatever string they want, and it just sends it out to the other vessels that have been generated. Not critical, not critical. Yeah, that's basically it. Oh, on retire. And again, with the new animation system, if you didn't already know, anytime end or abort gets called. So no matter how the animation comes to an end, retire will be called. And I need to make sure that I clear up all of the vessels that were generated because they won't be cleared up by default. And then if I'm doing any like highlighting, making things transparent, I need to reset that as well. But that's, I mean, basically it to the animation. It's pretty simple to write if you were to make it yourself from scratch. Super easy. I added some bells and whistles just to make it a bit more flexible, but that's not even needed. I think I even have more slides. I think that's just, oh, nice. Oh, right. So there's the animation. You also need to have an interface on your snapper. It's pretty easy too. Actually, don't even need this. You'll need to add this to your base classes. Again, this is using just a generic prop interface. So really, even how you handle this doesn't need to be done this way. You just need to be able to respond to that key. And you're probably going to want to look at the environment that comes in so you know what pick key is coming in. I mean, but that's it. Now you're ready to go with pick vessels. So now if I want to add a new one, like some new tool, I can just be like if env.key equals, I don't know, Fika material. What am I doing? What am I actually doing? Here we go. or whatever. I mean, it's that easy to now be a part of that animation. And because it's just going off of this key, I don't actually care like what extension started the animation or if it's a different product line and whatnot. It's just if it's a matching key, well then, hey, I do Fika materials too. The limb, I won't show the code for the limb because limb code is kind of gross. But having your own limb for this is also makes it a lot easier. This way you don't have to use the animation limb and then do some hackery to get your key in there. But basically it is just an extension of the animation limb. It just pushes in the key, and I also have some handling for pushing in props and stuff, but it's not needed obviously. Yeah, with these parts in place, making a new tool is super easy. You make a vessel, you tell your snapper I want to use that vessel, and then you walk away. Now that, is that? Oh yeah, so I want to point out some things. Like I said, vessels should not be owned by anything. They're space vessels. This is pretty important because if the vessels are on the animation or on snappers, they're not pickable. They have to be on space. They can't have an owner, at least not in the traditional sense. Like you'll notice both the split vessel and the paint vessel that I made, they both did call out like a reference to a snapper that they came from so that they could actually manipulate it. Perfectly fine. It's just you can't actually set that like underscore owner field basically the way vessels normally do. You don't need to extend the animation, probably ever. It already works out of the box. So you just tell it what key to start from, and then it's the vessels you actually create anew each time. You can extend it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with extending it, but you probably won't have a good reason to. I don't know, maybe I thought of something I didn't. This one is a bit annoying. It's easy to solve, but you have to solve it. And vessel property values are not implicitly shared, and for an animation, this is kind of a problem. So let me show you what I mean. So here, with these like fabric boxes, I took the like naive approach to handling the properties. You can see how each of these pick vessels has a different material on them. So when I switch over to, say, green checker, place it, I would expect, just from being consistent with other animations, that when I come over here and click, it would also place green checker, but it doesn't. And this is because the way it's set up, every vessel owns its own properties as well as the values on those properties. So switching over here, I'm getting whatever property he has set. This is a pretty easy problem to fix. I actually just made an animation proxy propdef. What it does, instead of storing the value on the vessel, it stores the value on the animation. And that's how I got these to work. So when I change them, they all change, because they're all referencing a value that's actually stored on the animation. And this is a bit more of a consistent user experience. I selected green, so I want to place green, 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 red, 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 right? But again, that's an easy fix. You write up a cool little animation proxy propdef and you're done. Let's see here. Let's think. Oh, I don't even have like a sign-off slide. Oh, that is so cheap. All right. But that's basically it for now. Any questions on this thing? And again, this is not a core thing. It's not in configure anywhere. This is just something I made. If anyone wants it, let me know. Ryan, what's up? A hard reason, no. It just seemed fairly consistent. A symbol is more, man, I guess it's just a feel. It felt good. Yeah. Yeah. I sexually identify as symbol user. Anything else? Questions? Yeah. For the sake of the video, the question was why use symbols instead of strings? And like Johan just pointed out, symbols checking equality is a lot easier and faster than checking strings because there's no like actual character-by-character comparisons and all that garbage. Okay, thank you very much. Again, if anyone wants to know anything about it, just let me know.